that there's a mastermind among God. I think there's people that capitalize on weakness and vulnerability. And during COVID, obviously, we were very vulnerable, and the economy became very weak. Those are very dangerous scenarios where people used to capitalize on moments when society was weak and divided, and moments of economic strife, moments when they can control markets and control industries, and figure out how to profit the most and how to eliminate certain competitors. It's all scary shit, man, because economics does play a factor in how they make decisions that can affect the vast majority of us. And the people that are profiting off these decisions all group of people that ask this question. Who owns the fucking oil? Who gets the fuck that's out? Isn't that the world stuff? That's how you own that. You don't own that part of land, but you can't own the ocean. Right? The ocean's international water triad. I get how many yards from the shore are they allowed to pump and say like this? California's oil. They could look for that a great side. Before that, I mean, I'm sure it's probably wrong. At what point in time they that's someone own that? Because if you're gonna sell oil that you got out of the ocean, first of all, you should give us a piece. Because sometimes you guys fuck up and it ruins the beach.
Well, I don't even know why when they fuck up, we got paid for it. That's like going to a restaurant. They're like, hey, the cook fucked up your chicken. It's going to be another $5. You're like, what?
Oil companies post record earnings. Sky high.
Yeah,
And they're posting record earnings while the fucking, yeah, that's weird. That they would charge lot for gas and make a lot of money.
yeah, it's crazy. Wow, what business model is that?
$8.5 billion profit for BP as prices soared in Russia. The world's ablaze, the oil industry just goes to record profits. Is it us or them? I just want to know what's happening.
It's not. I also don't think there's a limited supply of oil. I think it replenishes itself. You make it seem like, oh, dude, we might run out. We might run out. We got to jack it up a little bit. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
I think the idea is that the idea is that supply might outstrip demand. I don't think that anybody's question whether or not the world can make more oil. I think the question is how much you always take to drive fucking badass muscle.
Yeah. Well, isn't that why they called it fossil fuel forever? Because it was like the notion that it was from dead dinosaurs, which was hilarious.
I think that's a misnomer. I think they think it's more to things have changed. If I remember correctly. See if that's the case. I don't think it's enough dinosaurs. I think that was just like a silly little thing. I think it's a bunch of bio or organic matter. Natural fuels such as coal or gas formed in geological patches of remains of living organisms. Well, what kind of organisms? Yeah. Is it mostly fossil fuel? Just Google fossil fuel is mostly plants.
Plants and animals.
And animals. Dead plants and animals are some strands of animals and plants.
What is the process?
I don't know where I read that.
But you know, it's like peak oil's gonna come. We're all in trouble. But that's what it's. I think it's interesting, dude. I think I don't know if it's more technological people, but I think there is a push to not allow to know how special we are. That really is a big part of what's everything going on.
And I think they really are doing that on purpose, or do you think they're not thinking about that? I think they're just thinking about trying to make a lot of money.
Again, I think it's a spiritual war and it's being done purposely. I could be wrong. I've been wrong about the first 48 years of my life. So we couldn't find a way. We used to that for a while. I just like when you study, like there's this book called Verb by Injection. and it was talking about how the Rockefellers, what they did to the medical, the healthcare industry. And
With the Rockefellers.
yeah, well, they basically pumped all this money into the American Medical Association, which basically became this kind of like, it became the standard for the government's policies on, health. But in reality, it was more like it's just an organized crime family. Dude, study this stuff. They you know the weirdest thing is they wage war on the chiropractic community.
Oh, but that's probably good. Well, let's go to this first.
What's a B?
Sort of medical conspiracy against America. Paperback. Present work results from 4 years of investigative research. It is a logical progression from my previous books, expose international control of monetary issues and banking practices in the United States. A later work revealing that the secret network of organizations through which these alien forces wield political power, the secret committees, foundations, and political parties through which their hidden plans are implemented, and now, the most vital issue of all, the manner in which these depredations affect the daily lives and health of American citizens, despite the great power of the hidden rulers. I have to help you with this is a one-on sentence. I got the Admiral, son. This guy's on the good shit. He's on that. I need to write a book right now. This is great.
It's a great book. So you get into that, and then the other book is, I'm sure you know about, is Tragedy and Hope. It's,
but let's explore it. So what do you think happened with the medical community?
through basically the Rockefellers created they basically funded the AMA to basically almost make it so it's impossible unless you play ball with them to get anything, any funding going to be seen as legitimate, and they controlled it through that. And they ran out any holistic medicine or anything like that wasn't involving a pill or not pharmaceutical companies or anything like that. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm not explaining it as well as it should be, but that's.
Don't be hard on yourself. I'm doing an amazing job. You be in front of Yale right now.
They don't want to be at Yale as I'm a custodian, so. So, I mean, but basically, they basically took over everything to find that was Earth. That guy could be in Yale. He's on the Supreme Court. But
Okay.
they basically took over and became the governing body of how the healthcare and medical communities operate.
But doesn't somebody have to be the governing body? Don't they have to make sure that consults snake oil and fake medicine?
Which is really great.
They've done that throughout history, right?
100%, but then that could easily be manipulated to go the other way, so that you are buying snake oil, and you are buying these things that maybe aren't the most healthiest for you, when there's healthy options out there that maybe someone can't make as much money on.
There's certainly always. Okay, go ahead.
Oh, here we go with that.
He's an American white supremacist, anti-Semitic, conspiracy theorist, propagandist, Holocaust denier.
Oh, God.
Holocaust denier, and writer. A disciple of the poet Ezra Pound, in which he alleges that several high-profile bankers had conspired to write the Federal Reserve Act for their own nefarious purposes, and then included Congress to enact the Confidence Law. The Southern Poverty Law Center is described as a one-man organization. The problem is the Southern Poverty Law Center, didn't they have a similar designation to Sam Harris? Was there like an issue? They called him they called it something. So I don't want to put words.
Well, you know,
there's a real issue with multiple people being accused of horrific offenses that they could sue. They sue people, or people sue them.
What's up, Spark of Joy? I'm okay. I'm a little tired. Just kind of like,
it will say it's anti-Semitic, so
Here, hold on a second. This guy wrote that he espoused anti-Semitic views and expressed the belief that America owed a debt to Hitler.
Jesus.
Yeah.
But that doesn't change.
Sam, it does change. It changes a lot. It changes the only source that you have for this wacky fucking theory.
No, I mean, there's other folks that just haven't
I
read
know,
that.
why is it so exciting to you? That's true.
That's
That's the case. Instead of that, people are messy. And then the American Medical Association is trying to figure out a way to govern and figure out what is real, what's not real. And have high standards, what exactly what position is that. And then along the way, money compromises that.
right.
And then people start finding some certain medications that are not profitable and pushing and propagandizing those
Right,
other medications.
right.
Maybe not even, also being deceptive and inaccurate about test results because they want to achieve the desired result that will be more profitable. Now that's been proven. That's been proven in
By
finance.
who, like the CDC, right?
Well, I mean, this is like a court.
The WHO, and all of that, that's simply the same thing I'm saying, it's just a modern day version of it, whether it's the CDC or the AANA.
Sort of. But what I'm saying is that the roots of it were not this nefarious plot to imprison Americans. The roots of it were most likely that they were trying to figure out what is legitimate medicine and what is not legitimate medicine. And then along the way, then nefarious people can compromise the system that's already in place for profit if they have some
I
sort
could
of,
see a King of Pentacles here. This is typically Aries or Taurus energy.
that is proof. Okay, that's real stuff.
So 10 of Pentacles in reverse is coming out of something, could be even a relationship. It points to the 9 of Pentacles, which is being single and attractive. The Ace of Swords in the upright can represent new incoming communication. The King of Pentacles in the upright is right after that. So it makes me think that there is going to be maybe like an Aries or a Taurus coming towards you in the month of August. Okay. I feel as though something has to close out, though. The Death card in the upright, previous chapter.
I mean, like, somebody can say some stupid like shit, or like, can be, but I think there's a history that he just goes through, and I could be wrong, and I'll take an L on that, but I don't believe that there's a history of that. Because, why do I believe that? Because you can do research into it and see what they do. I mean, if we just take a look at what's going on right now.
Right now, I think it goes back to what we talked about before, that certain people do get compromised by
Right.
thoughts of profit.
Right.
Whether it's people that are the head of pharmaceutical companies and pushes medication that's very, very profitable, or whether it's the people that decide to fund certain research, not some fund other research or great studies, but also like roll out 10 studies. The thing is, it's not transparent. They do like 10 studies, and they do 10 try, find 2 of the children result, and 2 that result. The way they describe these results is really extreme. And this is what they get busted for. This is why we found out. Opiates being addicted, when they were pushing oxycontin, and all that shit. There's a direct paper trail. It shows they were deceptive. And this is big corporations have done this forever.
Have you seen, what is it called? Dope? Is that
Dope sick.
Dope sick? You haven't seen it? Oh,
Everything
you
else gets sick.
have to watch it. It is the exact playbook that they ran.
That's not opiates,
Right, but
Yeah, that's real.
But, so that's my whole opinion, like maybe that guy's an idiot and I hate anybody who is like, this group is bad doing this. I don't think it's like a boarding group or anything like that, but I do believe people conspire.
I think they do too. This is where you and I share, but I'm trying to look at it like objective.
Right.
The problem with conspiracies is they're fucking fun.
Yeah.
I love Bigfoot, UFOs,
Yeah.
ghosts,
Horror.
I love hearing all this crazy shit. Hitler was inspiring peanuts.
It's all magic, bro.
And also, you know, heard of that one? Oh, I don't know. I was a kid. So we filled me in on that. And everybody goes, that's crazy. Do you folks know that there is a giant, thriving German community in Argentina, and some of them have fucking, like, this is rampant. Like, it's an SS soldier wearing his fucking uniform on the wall of the house. Take that and describe all of these places. It seems we have Oktoberfest down there. You ever seen that?
Yeah.
Bro, it is a fact.
Okay, I got a weird one.
Nazis escaped Nazi Germany and went to South America, right?
I don't think the Nazis lost the war. I think Germany lost the war.
This Oktoberfest in Argentina. How nuts is that?
That is nuts.
That's there's down in Germany.
What's up?
That is secret German buildings in the middle of Argentina. Like, bro. Now Google this. Did Nazis escape Germany and move to Argentina? That whole, now you gotta remember also, 1947, the way you get information is posted in things. Well, that's it. In Argentina, haven for the fugitive Nazis. In Argentine haven for fugitive Nazis, April beans, chocolate eggs, and Hitler parties. 20 years after the capture of Eric Quebec,
You thought my icon was
in some
Dora.
Valadez
That's funny.
are trying to come to terms with the city's legacy of silence. That's Valadez. Some in Valadez. So most likely, that's what that is.
Do you think that's crazy? Have you ever seen?
Oh, go back up to the top. Well, no. Scroll to the first paragraph. This is there. A little boy, Hans Schultz, the blue-eyed son of a Hitler youth member, would walk uphill half a block each afternoon from the German school to his white stucco house in the Argentine ski resort of Valadez. Steps from an icy lake hugged by Andean peaks. Inside, he'd often find his dad, the president of the town's German Argentinian Culture Association, sitting with his vice president and close friend, an obscure, well-respected delicatessen owner named Eric Kruvich. This is a lot of shit. Yeah, dude. Scrolling for a while. Is anything else that's notable? Yeah, it's very good. Very good. Hold on a second. Here we go. Last October, Kruvich died in Rome, where he spent 5 years under house arrest, serving a life sentence for his role in carrying out the massacre of 335 civilians at the Ardeatine Caves in 1944, when he was a captain in the Nazi SS. But from 1946, when he slung to Argentina, until 1994, when the TV journalist Sam Donaldson confronted him on a Valadez street, who lived a comfortable, a fabricated life in this Bavarian-style city at the bottom of the world. Holy shit.
Have you ever lived in Huntsville, Alabama?
What happened? What's Huntsville? What?
Dude, they have
Excited.
I see that. I know. Yeah, dude, they have an arena named after a Nazi, Von Braun. Like, and in yeah,
That's interesting.
that's really interesting.
Werner von Braun, who was the, Joe Fraser real quick. Okay.
A Nazi, a Scientologist, no, a Nazi, a Scientologist, a pedophile, and
Will I be in a serious relationship this month?
A Nazi, a Satanist, a pedophile, and a Scientologist walk into a bar, what do? Invent NASA.
The horrible story of NASA is that NASA constructed with people from Operation Paperclip, which was Nazi scientists, but not just people that were working under Nazi Germany, but people who actively practiced as Nazis. The Simon Wiesenthal Center, look at this picture. At one point in time, the Simon Wiesenthal Center, I believe, said that Werner von Braun was alive today. We would prosecute him for crimes against humanity. Because people claim that he hung the 5 slows.
I'm not seeing so. I'm not seeing so.
Now that part, I don't know if it's true, so we probably find out. I've said it so many times. I know I read it. I know like.
Well, you're not pushing books by anti-Semitic, so you look good on
I
this.
know I watched a documentary where a guy who was a constitutional.
But- There is something. It might be from the past, though. It might be from the past, though, like some sort of rebirth. Something coming back from the past.
Now that part, the part of one was alive today.
Because I read this as like a rebirth.
Because people claim that he hung the 5 slowest Jews in front of his rocket. The Simon Wiesenthal Operation Paperclip, which was Nazi scientists, not just people that were working under Nazi Germany, but people who actively practiced as Nazis. The Simon Wiesenthal Center, look at this picture too. At one point in time, the Simon Wiesenthal Center, I believe, said that Werner von Braun was alive today. We would prosecute him for crimes against humanity.
Elsa says,
Claimed that he hung the 5 slowest Jews in front of his rocket factory for lead.
what obstacles in the way?
Now that part, I don't know if it's true, so we probably find out. But I said it so many times. I know I read it. I know like.
Well, you're not pushing books by anti-Semitic, so you look good on
I
this.
know I watched a documentary where a guy who was in concentration camps, I would have never even seen at the camps, or at the rocket factory. This is a fact that they use Jews as slave labor. It's a fact. Right? Yeah. That's tragic. And it's scary shit that they brought those people over and they moved their Nazis. And we also have those dual stars on their face.
For Elsa, the 6 of Cups came out in reverse. So this is the energy of friendship. This is the energy. This is the energy of innocence. This is the energy of a soulmate connection on this kind of innocent level. So this suggests that you guys aren't like friends, like objectively in real life, outside of the relationship. You got to get back to that purity where you guys can be friends within the relationship. Is what this is suggesting. Like, look at these are just like innocent kids, So some semblance of innocence has been lost, I think. Haley says, why is my neighbor talking so loud? Like she is throwing words. I do wonder if it is just like an aggressive energy towards you or towards anyone that they feel can be in the vicinity of hearing them, you know? So I would be mindful about that, you know? Name initial my future spouse. Okay. Okay, I'm getting that it starts with the letter A. It starts with the letter A. Is what I'm getting for man crushy. You got a man crush. Um, Romance outlook for Lauren. Okay, we're going plaid on your ass. Okay, I see the marriage card coming out you for Lauren. Coming out for you, Lauren. Yes, Rakshar. I don't know if there are many names that begin with the letter A in your culture, but I was getting the letter A. Hi, can I have a reading, please? DeAndre, you're going to have to be more specific than that. All right, we got a lot of people coming in and out and asking questions. They're well prepared. I need you to formulate a specific question, Giandra. I appreciate you guys being here. Like, share, follow, subscribe. Also, reach out for one-on-one private reading. Website link below. Feel free to tip or donate. What is going to happen between me and KC? That's a good ass question. I've been trying to figure that out myself. My ex is named Casey, so you know that bitch crazy. I don't like no guy named Casey. I don't like a Casey. As far as I can throw a Casey. But I tell you what. Fuck a Casey. Okay, I mean, for real, I see like victory and success with this person. I see coming out of conflict. I see coming out of fighting with this person. Okay, and then there's another card of union. So there's about to be, you know, a lot of weddings being planned because those cards are coming out hella a lot of times so far. So yeah, I think that there's going to be some sort of future between the two of you. Hey, new subby, and I liked. Okay, trip 5, Capricorn A is all of a sudden being inconsistent. Can you tell me what his intentions with me nowadays? I'm Gemini. Okay. Yeah, I think that the relationship is falling out with the Two of Cups in reverse. This person might be just more so focused on his own inner energy. He's watering and growing something himself. So I think he's just kind of realigning his focus to himself. Okay. I think typically it's a result of a lack of direction of where you want to move the connection. So he's choosing to proceed emotionally solo by himself, is what I'm getting. Shata Aldaba says, what do you see coming towards me soon? Okay, coming out of overthinking, coming out of worrying. Could be pregnancy too with the Empress card here. Okay, baby mama. Welcome. Woo-wee. I'm seeing the twin flame come out for you. Okay. Y'all got a history together. Maybe in previous lifetimes, if you believe in that. You guys probably felt very familiar with each other when you first met. So that's what I'm seeing here. Yeah. Y'all are boring, man. Y'all are boring. Go invite some friends and this shit.
At the Nuremberg trials and of other criminals in judicial proceedings, some of which were held in former concentration camps during the second period from 1948 to approximately 1953. The exact opposite happened. With the Cold War already underway, the U.S. lost interest in actively pursuing Nazi war criminals, preferring to build up West Germany as a bulwark against communism and therefore adopting a far more lenient attitude towards former Nazis, some of whom were listed as intelligence sources or rocket scientists. The criminal Nazi past is that during these years, U.S. immigration authorities allowed entry into the United States as refuge for prisoners of the worst of Hitler's European entry. Then there are scroll. This Holocaust crimes, however, cannot be prosecuted in the United States as they have not been committed, as they have been committed overseas. Their victims are not Americans at the time of the crimes were committed. So instead, Nazi criminals were prosecuted for immigration and naturalization violations. That is, for concealing their wartime past. Although this appears to be a cop-out source, but announced the decision to relatively successful results. The good news was that it was relatively easy to win such cases compared to war crimes prosecutions. The downside was that the punishments, denaturalization and deportation, were often grotesquely inhuman crimes. But the school were involved in Nazis.
Well, I mean, they were talking about for like the longest time, up until the 80s or early 90s, like, I'm still you'd have to be, because everyone was like convincing themselves like he didn't want to do it and stuff like that.
Think about those times, about 47, where, you know,
I feel as though that
how would anybody find it? How would anybody find out that they had assholes?
I think that this person is inconsistent. So I would take that as them not being that interested, Sasha, because they're not consistent.
No idea. Let's go on that. Whereupon Ron received an unpleasant surprise. The West German court asked him to testify in trial of 3 former SS men from the Dora concentration camp, which had supplied slave labor for the production of the V-2 ballistic missile. Von Braun had been the technical director of that project and visited the Associated Utility Work factory a dozen times. down the head of the center that managed the gigantic Saturn V moon rocket. He was afraid the intended publicity would damage his reputation and that of NASA and tried to beg off so that he had spoke to the judge in court at the Western Consulate in New Orleans on February 7, 1969. He denied any personal responsibility and put as much distance as he could between his rocket development center and the Brewer complex.
Crazy. Crazy.
The military did the same with von Braun's SS officer ranking Nazi records of more than 100 associates who had come to the U.S. with him. But, I guess they felt like we were in the Cold War with Russia. There's a war. There's Russians getting Nazis, so we get the Nazis. And that's the shit you have to do. It sounds horrible. It is horrible. But so is war. And so is losing the nuclear war with the Russians, right? If these motherfuckers making weapons and fucking superior.
My name is Peter. My name is Peter.
Making rockets. Advanced rockets. Those crazy motherfuckers, they have ground. That's what's sick. What's sick is it was probably the thing to do. Yes, the Russians got all of them. Can you imagine if the Russians got all the Nazis? Come on over here, we got you. We got you, bro. We want the house.
Send them up.
You want some hot Russian ladies? Keep company with you, or you're designing the next fucking apocalypse? The weapon is going to destroy everything. Let's say all the great fucking scientists. And you got.
Have you ever heard of Tataria?
Tataria.
Never heard of Tataria? I saw you like this.
Yeah, folks.
Yeah, Peter.
Too weird. I guess we already did, but Tataria. There's this belief that there's a hidden empire of life. It was shipping that was around up until maybe the 1800s. Yeah, and that was wiped out history books. And I love the angle. I love that stuff.
Where did they wipe out? What?
Out of Russia.
It was Russia?
Yeah, it was out of Russia, and it was like very advanced. And
You looked into this?
yeah, of course.
As much as you looked into that guy being a Nazi?
Well, I didn't look at it. I read his book. I didn't.
Okay, here it is. Tatari.
Tatari, look up Tatari.
Tatari, there it is. Asia, Tatari.
Well, before we get into that, have you ever looked into
I feel so. I think that there might even be some sort of financial compensation with the Ace of Pentacles here.
Someone said like a UFC fighter saying it was from Tatari. Oh, yeah.
No, I'm not married.
Is there an article that doesn't look good? Probably Wikipedia is. I suck.
Well, Charles and I end up in a relationship.
With aspects persevering in Anatoly Fomenko's
I'm not seeing so. When I ask yes or no, I get a no.
But it's basically that there's.
Yeah, I think you could. I think you could take it up with the state labor department, and if you have enough evidence, you might have a case there.
Yeah. Like, oh, bro, I gotta do that. One of the children, but they're also known to be giants.
The Great Pyramid, the White House had remnants of Tatarian.
Dude, that's the crazy thing,
in the
man.
White House? As long as it's the White House, too.
That station.
Fucking tired.
That station.
Have you ever looked into the conspiracies involving the World Fair of the Chicago World Fair? And how like, so they basically said they built this World Fair in like 2 years, and if you ask actual architects, they go just the design would take 15 years. And to build it would take forever.
The wanted to make me responsible. What was going to be the people? Like these people were mad. It's hard to do dust. That is great. Okay, that's real stuff.
And I totally agree with that, but I think that could be applied, right? Well, a broken clock could be right twice a day, right? I mean, like, somebody could say some stupid,
Right, German community in Argentina, and some of them have fucking, like, this is crap happy. Like, he's an SS soldier wearing his fucking uniform,
Yeah.
walking the house. Well, I watched a documentary where a guy who was in concentration camp survivor, remember the sea. We're trying to spread Christianity, which is, of course, the real true word of God.
right? And then
Patrick, right, patron saint of.
Like,
That's interesting. All these, this was John Mark Owens. And that he wrote. Nine, okay, so there, so we're gonna scroll down there.
and he didn't bother to deal with the smaller shit.
Listen. That would probably fuck the whole computer revolution.
For good or bad?
For that, it didn't work. All the countries in here, frying all the prices. But then I would also it was fun.
But it's basically that there was a shipping empire that went all over the world.
Imagine if you're on the beach tomorrow. You want a house, bed,
Set them up.
you want some hot Russian ladies, keep company. Holocaust crimes, so could not be prosecuted in the United States, as they had not been. Word of all bombs and Nazis, you can see that. And stuff like that. Think about those times, you know, think about force associated until
Crazy.
but you know, I guess they felt like we were in the Cold War with Russia, we had two choices. War, because the Russians get the Nazis, so we get the Nazis. Like that's the shit that you have to do. And it sounds horrible. It is horrible. But so's war. And so's losing a nuclear war to the Russians, right? And if these motherfuckers are making weapons and fucking superior jet engines and all kinds of crazy shit that the Germans were doing, and making rockets, they were very advanced rocketry. Those crazy motherfuckers, they had a ground. That's what's sick. What's sick is it was probably the thing to do.
Yeah.
Because if the Russians got all of them, can you imagine the Russians? Fucking apocalypse. So,
I don't want to get too weird on it. I guess we already did, but
yeah.
to talk, so we have
It's a weird time.
there's this place that there's been a hidden empire of light from our history books. And it's to cover.
When was the round?
It was a shipping empire that was around up until maybe the 1800s.
What?
Yeah, and that was just wiped out the history books. And I love I love this.
I'm excited. Where did they wipe it out of? Where was it?
Out of Russia.
It was Russia?
Yeah, it was out of Russia, and it was like very advanced. And
Have you looked into this?
yeah, of course.
As much as you looked into that guy being a Nazi?
Well, I didn't look at it. I read his book. I didn't.
Okay, here it is. Tatari.
Look up Tatari net.
Tataria, there it is, Asia Tataria.
Well, before we get into that, have you ever looked into like?
Oh, wait a minute, they seem to say it's real. Those are real places, Sam.
Yeah. Someone said like a UFC fighter said he was from Tataria.
Maybe it's hard for people in that part.
Oh yeah, dude.
Let's see what it says. What is Tataria about? Is there an article that doesn't look real? The problem with Wikipedia is I suck. I can't read it.
Conspiracy theory.
Sure. Okay. That's a fun Grand
Also, civilization in Russia.
with aspects first appearing in Anatoly Fomenko's
Popularized creational history of Nikolai Valadez, Russian pseudoscience. Nationalism is always presented as the real name for Russia, which was maliciously ignored in the West. Maliciously.
What's up? What's up? Why isn't this working? All right, just chilling. Trying to get my internet to work on the TV.
I don't want to get too weird on it. I guess we already did, but to talk to the acid, it's a weird time. There's this belief that there's been a hidden empire white from our history books, and it's to come.
When was it around?
It was a shipping empire that was around up until maybe the 1800s.
What?
Yeah, and that was wiped out in the history books. And I love the anime. I love this.
Where did they wipe it out of? Where was it?
Out of Russia.
It was Russia?
Yeah, it was out of Russia, and it was like very advanced. And
Have you looked into this?
yeah, of course.
As much as you looked into that guy being a Nazi?
Well, I didn't look at it. I read his book. I didn't.
Okay, here it is. Tatari.
Look up Tatari net.
Tataria, there it is, Asia Tataria.
Well, before we get into that, have you ever looked into like?
So wait a minute, they seem to say it's real. Those are real places, Sam.
Yeah. Someone said like a UFC fighter said he was from Tataria.
Maybe it's hard for people in that part.
Oh yeah, dude.
Let's see what it says. What is Tataria about? Is there an article that doesn't look real? The problem with Wikipedia is I suck. I can't read it.
Conspiracy theory.
Sure. Okay. That's a fun Grand
Also, civilization in Russia.
with aspects first appearing in Anatoly Fomenko's
Popularized creational history of Nikolai Valadez, Russian pseudoscience. Nationalism is always presented as the real name for Russia, which was maliciously ignored in the West.
But it's basically that there is a shipping empire that went all over the world.
Imagine if you're on the beach and all these, this is some hard ass looking Russian tanks with already tattooed on his back.
Yeah.
Oh,
like,
oh, bro, I gotta get out of
One of
here.
the children, but they're also known to be giants.
The Great Pyramid and the White House are remnants of Tatarian buildings.
Dude, that's the crazy
And
thing,
the White House?
Yeah.
As long as it's the White House too, not really.
So Penn Station.
What the fuck you talking about?
Penn Station.
Have you ever looked into the conspiracies involving the World Fair, of the Chicago World Fair? And how built this World Fair in 2 years? And if you ask actual architects, they go, just the design would take 15 years. And the build it would take forever. And they said that they built it in 2 years and then knocked it all down. Bang, gone.
What would it look like?
It's like the conspiracies of the World Fair. It looks like the Vatican.
So this is what they built, and then they knocked it all down?
They said they built all this in 2 years.
They built that in 2 years?
That's what they said. And then they knocked it all down.
What? Okay, we're gonna have to dive into this one. Because did they really knock it all down?
Yeah.
Why would they do that? This is in Chicago?
Yeah.
So they built all this, then they demolished it.
Yeah.
What remains of the 1893 Chicago World's Fair is dead. So why did they do that?
I guess.
Yeah.
Because they're erasing history.
Why would they want to erase something they built?
And that's a whole different thing.
I feel like I'm providing a much needed service with the thought process of these things.
Thank you.
I think someone needs to go, wait, hold on.
Interesting thing about this most tragic is Tesla, Edison, one of their concepts, DC power was a really big thing.
I feel like I'm providing a,
I guess.
yeah.
Because they're erasing history.
Yeah, so they built all this, then they demolished it.
Yeah.
What remains of the 1893 Chicago World's Fair is dead. So why did they do that?
I guess.
Yeah.
Because they're erasing history.
Why would they want to erase something they built?
And that's a whole different
I
thing.
feel like I'm providing a much needed service with the thought process of these things.
Thank you.
I think someone needs to go, wait, hold on.
The interesting thing about this most tragic is Tesla, Edison, one of their concepts, DC power was a really big thing.
Right.
Look at that. They said they built that in 2 years.
All the structures, the
Yeah.
sculptures and everything?
Yeah.
How many people? Did they build all those buildings?
That's what they're saying.
So why would they knock those down? They knock those down? Are those like sets, like when you go to Universal Studios, it's
No,
the building behind it?
Not that at all, man.
Oh my god. Why don't you Google why they demolished? Let's just Google that. Let's Google. Please Google why did they demolish the Chicago World Fair? What do you think? What do you think it's gonna say?
I gotta tell ya,
Some propaganda by them, right? They're gonna,
it's to erase history, bro.
why would we want to
Time
erase
on
something that we know about? But if we know that they did that, why would we
Okay,
want to erase
because
them?
the Tatarians had very advanced technology, like giant organs that heal you through sound. Have you ever heard of that?
Organs like musical organs?
Yeah, like Phantom of the Opera shit.
Living through sound?
Through sound. Free energy, that's a big part of it. Free energy.
Free energy.
Yeah,
What do you mean by free energy?
that they could harness energy.
Oh, like Tesla type,
Yeah.
like, and harness electricity through the air.
Yeah.
You know, they said that if he had done that, if Tesla had done that, it probably would have fucked the whole computer revolution.
For good or bad.
For bad, it wouldn't have worked. With all the electricity in the air, frying all the devices. But then I would think that's what they would have made. Also, it was a fire. And, oh yeah. Fire lit up a large part of the record. Well, let's see, they're experimenting with electricity for the first time, and it caused a massive fire. What a shocker, yeah. Well, don't you think maybe they didn't know what the fuck they were doing? For the For 3 hours, the flames raged along the past end of the court of honor until nothing was left but charred timbers and blackened plaster. The shower of sparks fell upon the ice in the lagoon until it looked like a sea of fire. They fell upon the 3 hours of. Okay. Oh, yeah. Fire lit up a large. That's the cloud of fog.
And
Reasons to say.
I gotta tell you,
Some propaganda by them, right? They're gonna.
it's the race history, bro.
Well, I don't want to
Time
read
out.
something that we know about, but if we know that they did that.
Okay, because the Tatarians had very advanced technology, like giant organs that could heal you through sound. Have you ever heard of that?
Organs like musical
Like,
organs.
yeah, like Phantom of the Opera shit.
Shit through sound.
Through sound. Free energy, that's a big part of it, free energy.
Free energy.
Yeah,
What do you mean by free energy?
that they could harness energy.
Oh, like Tesla type.
Yeah.
Harness electricity through the
Yeah.
air. Yeah. You know, they said that if he had done that, if Tesla had done that, it probably would have fucked the whole computer revolution.
For good or bad?
For that, it wouldn't have worked. All the electricity in the air, frying all the devices. But then I would think it wouldn't even with me. Also, it was a fire. Okay. Oh, yeah. Fire lit up a large part of the record. Well, let's say they're experimenting with electricity for the first time, and it causes a massive fire. What a shock here. Well, don't you think maybe they didn't know what the fuck they were doing? For 3 hours, the flames raged along the past end of the court of honor until nothing was left but charred timbers and blackened plaster. The shower of sparks fell upon the ice in the lagoon until it looked like a sea of fire. They fell upon the adjacent buildings, threatening them with destruction. It was a magnificent spectacle that drew ceaseless exclamations of wonder and awe from the spectators that crowded the grounds in the vicinity of the fire. It was the greatest pyrotechnic display of the fair. Just on fire. Hold on a second. But the destruction did not end with the burning of these buildings. Firebrands were carried to the roof of the manufacturer's building, and the promenade around the crown of that enormous structure was soon on fire. The wind was strong, and the flames soon reached the immense wooden ventilators under the eaves. They were soon burning fiercely. The story under the roof was in a blaze. It sounded like a horrible fire, Sam.
Yeah.
Why would you think someone started this on purpose?
To destroy it.
But would you think that it would be possible that the winds are really strong and an actual accidental fire that happens all the time broke out and it destroyed those buildings?
Well,
Because they were experimenting with electricity. Like, what caused the fire? Do they know what caused the fires? Did they have like arson inspectors back then?
It's very interesting, dude, because you go through a lot of these big cities and you kind of see this weird kind of ancient architecture.
Siona says, is anyone from my past coming back to apologize to me this year?
At all. One is like very advanced, like stuff we don't see anymore, and now this new stuff, and it's just like it's really mind blowing. And you see a lot of stuff, especially when you go to the smaller cities.
Siona, Serenity of Soul, wrote her question out and asked it. She didn't ask if she could ask a question. You just write your question out and I'll answer it. Someone's in a crappy mood. Is anyone from my past coming back to apologize to me this year? Let's see. What people think about me in the club last week. I don't see anybody coming back to apologize. Siona. Also, why do you care about what people think about you in the club? When will be ending my twin flame journey? What do you mean, when will your twin flame journey end? What does that mean? You already want to know when it ends? It sounds like you haven't even started. Yeah, but you can't worry about what people think of you. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day. I'd like to know if my specific person is going to text me first within the next 48 hours. Yes or no? I'm seeing yes. I don't know what that language is. Yeah, I mean, I'm not getting that anyone was thinking anything in particular about you, to be honest, Serenity of Soul. Nothing was coming out for me when I was looking. So oftentimes we think people care, but they don't.
Like they went around and got rid of a lot of stuff in the bigger cities, and they didn't bother to deal with the smaller cities.
Listen, this, the Panama Pacific International Exposition proved so popular and profitable that long before its closing proposals were made to save, long before its closing proposals were being made to save all or part of it. Architect Willis Polk in particular lobbied heavily for the preservation of the house.
No, if you haven't heard from him in years, I would say no.
Gardens and the Avenue of Palms. Louis Christian Gold Gardens told the Commonwealth Club that when the exposition buildings are torn down, then will we have destroyed one of the greatest architectural units which has ever been created in the history of the world. The influential club, like many others, passed a resolution pleading for the preservation of as much of the fair as possible. Speculative forces proved far stronger than the dream, however, and the arches and towers were brought down in clouds of colored plaster, revealing their fall. The underlaying lath framework, the south gardens were scrapped clean of paintings, fountains, and sculpture. Small buildings were moved to the waterfront and barged throughout the Bay Area. The north gardens, marine green, and yacht harbor remain a gift of the exposition, along with the column of progress, with its adventurous moment at the end of South Street until the 1920s. It succumbed to automotive collisions and was pulled down.
This was the 1915 affair in San Francisco.
Will you do me a favor, and we'll go back to that, and Google the adventurous boatman at the end of South Street? What is that? So that was the last thing that remained. What did that look like? So there it is. So it's a statue. So too many people hit the guy with a bow and arrow. That was the last thing remaining. Now, it sounds fucked that they would tear that stuff down, but, I'm open to the idea that some idiot owned the land, or someone wanted to do something else with it. They decided to destroy it, build new shit there. You don't think so? After fire, you think that they would have decided to preserve it? Would it preserve it even cost a shitload of money? Two separate events.
Fires for Chicago, and then this pretty nice.
Oh, what is that?
20 years later in San Francisco.
That was what you were showing me right there? Oh, I thought it was a single. So there's two world.
Siona said he'd be right back. I don't know high five English like you, Peter. Sorry. I want to know about my marriage. What do you want to know about your marriage? He'd be right back. I love that. How can I do that? How can I, like, I'm going to pin that message. He'd be right back. Sione, you're my favorite. Sarah. Hello, any message about my living situation while I find another? How about y'all start sending me some tips and donations and shit? Like, make this shit spicy. How about that?
One of them is
This one, yeah, this one's.
What's your boring ass questions?
So you think they did it because they want to hide?
How boring.
Is it possible? That's the one that said Kathy, that's the thing. Yeah. That's not six programs. It's good, dude. Yeah. So, okay, so this remains. That's pretty dope.
See, here's the thing, you don't see anymore, it's like this weird architecture
That's
that
true.
isn't surrounded by anything around. And it's like, so,
What do you mean?
so this gets into something you talk about, like mud floods too. Like,
Yeah, but then this stuff is like happened during modern history. They know this. They know it built it. Pretty amazing. 9, okay, it's still there. So look at that. Scroll back down there. It says 9 amazing examples of World's Fair architecture that still stand today. Look how good that looks.
yeah, but they knocked down a lot.
I'm sure they did. That's because people are assholes. Yeah. I don't think there's a grand conspiracy. I mean, that could.
Cheers.
I'll take that as a win.
The world is very interesting, brother, and
Why would they try to hide their ability to create awesome conspiracy? Hold that down there. It says 9 amazing examples of World's Fair
Okay.
architecture that still stand today. Look how good that looks.
Mahish's feelings towards me. Does he love me?
People are assholes. Yeah. I don't think there's a grand conspiracy.
Yes. Yes, he does.
But I'm looking at it. I'll take that as a win.
the world is very interesting, brother, and
Why would they try to hide their ability to create awesome structures?
because if you're asking me, Joe, everything is about trying not to let us know how special we really are,
Keep going back to that. I don't know.
that we are powerful beings
The way they do this by knocking down that.
by not letting us know our history, by rewriting history, by flooding us with
But who would do that?
low frequency shit.
Well, I think we flood ourselves with low frequency.
Right.
I think that's the problem. So we gravitate towards the low frequency shit, and low frequency shit becomes profitable. Right.
Well, it just becomes like
Sarah NY says, does A not interested in me anymore after that night?
Just think about all the stuff that people were able to get away with before the internet was here. We could, like, people do their own research and stuff like that. And control, like, if you go, dude, that's a thing. You look at that, you look at the Vatican, that unknown, it's like, what is that?
Unedible.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
The stuff you must have seen.
Yeah, I'm getting like mixed signals, so I would say no.
Yeah.
You want to be riding that cannabis wave for a while and soaking in the history of that place.
And what did you think while you were there?
It's wild. It's so much art. It's because edibles are good things too because it lasts a long time. You know, that's good. You smoke a joint, you can be normal like that. It's
Yeah.
not long time. You want to be riding that cannabis wave for a while and soaking in the history of that place.
What did you think while you were
It's
there?
wild.
Hello.
It's so much
Any
art.
messages
It's fucking
about
insane.
my
You're like,
living
where'd you
situation?
get all this? Houses
Will I
all
find another
yours.
place soon?
Just want to get in that library, just like, let me see what's in there, dude.
What's in that?
What is in there?
Did you ever read Sacred Mushroom Cross?
No, I haven't.
You need to read that. I love it. It's a great book about this guy, John Marco, that wrote Deciphered the Dead Sea Scrolls. On the committee, and for 14 years worked with Dead Sea Scrolls. His conclusion was the entire Bible was all this understanding was really about psychedelic mushrooms and fertility cults. It's a wild book. Supposedly, the Catholic Church brought it up, but it's crazy. Oh, really? Yeah.
I love
I
that.
got old copies of it. I got copies, used copies of it when it was first released. It's fascinating book. That was right.
I could see September for you for a new place.
For sure. A lot
Well,
of
things get better between me and B.
This depiction and stuff of mushrooms. For sure.
Yeah.
And for sure, they thought that if they ate mushroom trip balls, they probably thought they'd some gift, something magic, something that reaffirmed all of their beliefs
Yes.
in the world. Just like, the people thought that witches were real. They did the LSD bread and fucking trip balls.
Right.
Those people probably, when they were consuming mushrooms, they probably thought that God had given them this fucking amazing gift to communicate with him. And they had to hide that information in any way.
What's Megapint?
To different stories. They hid the meanings, allegories, all these different. This is John Marco. That he wrote
Fuck
down
you guys.
Christ.
What's
He
Megapint?
traced it back to an ancient Sumerian word that meant a mushroom rooted god seed. Really? What they believed is that when it rained, you gotta remember, infant mortality back then is very high.
Are we talking space book copy?
Well, yeah, it's pretty common. Exactly. but God's basically common. But infant mortality back then was really high, right? So they wanted to make as many people as possible. Otherwise, they wouldn't be people. These people were actively practicing fertility rituals and they were trying to get pregnant. It was like really important things. So they had rituals they would do to try to get pregnant. And they also had this ancient use of psychedelic mushrooms. So when it rained, all of a sudden mushrooms, it's like you go out in your yard and it was raining and then you see mushrooms. If they weren't there yesterday, they would go out and see these things and they would eat them. And they would trip their fucking balls. Yeah, it made sense. They thought that God, that God came upon the earth, that this mushroom, allowed you to talk to God. And they would try to hide this shit from conquering.
Well, I get to study in JU University.
I believe all that, and I also think that, the Vatican has a really
Yes.
interesting role.
Yes, you will.
The interpretation of the Bible, what the Bible represents, and how they try to.
What
make
will
it
my
like
future
literal
partner be
instead
like?
of like a spiritual thing, and if you kind of take a look at like St. Patty's Day, right? You ever study St. And I also think that the Vatican has a real interesting role in like the interpretation of the Bible, what the Bible represents, and how they try to make it like literal instead of like a spiritual thing. And if you kind of take a look at like St. Patty's Day, right? You ever study St. Patty's Day and what it really is? It's like St. Patty's Day is basically St.
Seen a very strong connection here, match made in heaven. Empress Emperor vibes. So very good. Yin to your yang. This is the feel that I'm getting. Hard worker. But you're gonna have to work on not falling into that trap that I think most married women fall into. Or whatever. I don't know. Emmy. Cash App. What is it? My Cash App is in the description box below. think it's like $PB4711, but check it out in the description box below.
Patrick is sent into Ireland to rid the snakes. That is it, right? But the truth is, like, I don't think there's snakes in Ireland. And then what they're actually talking about are pagans. And it's actually a story of genocide, dog. Yeah, that's what St. Patty's Day is all about. Yeah, I think Ireland.
Maybe they used to be snakes.
I think it was too.
successful.
Yeah, he just got them all out.
Don't
Yeah, they just go around killing the gardener snakes.
Snakes, man.
Yeah, I think it had to do with pagan, and so then you get to something called eagle versus serpent. Have you ever heard of that story?
Hold on, let's start with St. Patrick's Day. Work our way to eagle versus serpent.
Okay, that's
Oh, Jesus, he can't follow this chaos.
No, I am. I'm like, well,
Okay, St. Patrick's Day was really about pagans.
But that part is not, that'd be hard to find out, but we're not snakes.
Okay, it says St. Patrick really drives snakes out of Ireland. The stuff of legend, the reptiles never existed on the Emerald Isle. St. Patrick's Day. Oh, there's another page. Mention your emails. You son of a bitch.
Yeah, what are you doing?
Trying to guess. Yeah, it's too cold. It's too cold for snakes. Right. So maybe it was just like the way they had to explain why there's no snakes in it.
Which gets into this thing called eagle versus serpent, and we'll get into, but those are symbolisms. Right, the eagle represents. That's why you see it on all these flags. The eagle represents, the serpent represents knowledge. And knowledge is power. And so, and ancient knowledge. So like when they talk about serpents, they're talking about pagans. And we have a negative connotation of paganism in this country because we assume it's like witches and stuff like that.
But you assume it's kids with asshole stepdads.
Right, God, kids.
Literally the anime.
Right. Smoking cigarettes in high school, yelling. In this country, because we assume it's like witches and stuff like that. But
You assume it's kids with asshole stepdads.
Sorry, I didn't want to rub my nose on camera. Wow, sounds unemotional person that needs to heal from whatever that is. Hope the person is stable and strong-minded for my future partner. I wasn't getting that. I got that it was a good match. You know?
Thank God, kids.
Literally the anime.
Right. Smoking cigarettes in high school, yelling at about. That's what it's not. It's about basically a cult. Like,
Well, paganism was the existing religion that Christianity kind of incorporated, right? Didn't they incorporate a lot of their holidays coincided with pagan rituals?
yes.
Like Jesus' birthday, bring people in. Some modern pagans refuse to observe a day which honors the elimination of an old religion in favor of a new one, and wear a snake symbol on St. Patrick's Day. The idea that St. Patrick physically drove the pagans from Ireland is inaccurate. What he did do was facilitate the spread of Christianity.
That sounds like a very cleaned up version of it. That sounds like somebody's PR person came in. Well, now read this, Alfred.
That's a non-point.
Kill, drove, same thing.
People have a distorted version of this. We're trying to spread Christianity, which is, of course, the real true word of God.
Right.
And then Patrick, the ancient saint of Ireland, was born in Britain, not Ireland, near the end of the 4th century.
That's Alfred.
That's a non-point.
Kill, drove.
Facilitate the spread of Christianity.
That sounds like a very cleaned up version.
Favor of a new one. And wear a snake symbol. And be kind of incorporated, right? Didn't they incorporate a lot of their holidays coincided with pagan rituals?
Yes.
Like Jesus' birth.
That's what it's not. It's about basically a cult. Like,
Well, paganism was the existing religion and Christianity kind of incorporated, right? Didn't they incorporate a lot of their holidays coincided with pagan rituals?
yes.
Like Jesus' birthday, bring people in. Some modern pagans refuse to observe a day which honors the elimination of the old religion in favor of a new one, and wear a snake symbol on St. Patrick's Day. The idea that St. Patrick physically drove the pagans from Ireland is inaccurate. What he did do is facilitate the spread of Christianity.
That sounds like a very cleaned up version of it. That sounds like somebody's PR person came in. Well, now read this off.
That's not quite.
Yeah, I could see like signing a new contract this week. Reedy Sharma.
We're trying to spread Christianity, which is of course the real true word of God.
Right. And then
Patrick, the patron saint of Ireland, was born in Britain, not Ireland, living in the 4th century. At age 16, he was kidnapped by Irish raiders and sold as a slave to a Celtic priest in Northern Ireland. Whoa! After toiling for 6 years as a shepherd, he escaped back to Britain. No, so it's a real person in the 4th century? Is that a real?
Yeah.
Which? Sold as a slave to a Celtic priest in Northern Ireland. Whoa! After toiling for 6 years as a shepherd, he escaped back to Britain. No, so it's a real person in the 4th century? Is that a real?
Yeah. Which now explains why you want to go back and whoop ass, right?
Real snakes, okay. So snake was nothing. Leprechauns are likely based on Celtic figures. Leprechauns are based on mushrooms.
Yeah.
They eat mushrooms rather than eat leprechauns.
Yeah, for sure.
That's what the elves are. I mean, everybody has their own version of it, but there's like little things that you eat when you eat mushrooms. No, they must have had mushrooms. They have cattle. They have moisture, right? They have based on
Right.
those things. Okay, did that. So snake was okay. Leprechauns are likely based on Celtic figures. Leprechauns are based on mushrooms.
Yeah.
They eat mushrooms rather than eat leprechauns.
Yeah, for sure.
That's what the elves are. I mean, everybody has their own version of it, but there's like little things that you eat when you eat mushrooms. No, they must have had mushrooms. They have cattle. They have moisture, right? They have a lot of moisture. So, like, I know Europe had mushrooms. A lot of the Mexicans, a lot of mushrooms. That's where Gordon Watson, I think his name was, who first started writing about psychedelic mushrooms. I think it was in Life magazine. Gordon Watson, Google that. And he was the guy that like sort of first started describing psychedelic mushroom effects in like modern publications. This is back before it was illegal. Mushrooms weren't even made illegal in America.
It was cocaine was for the longest time.
Yeah. Seeking the Magic Mushroom is a 1957 photo essay by amateur mycologist Robert Gordon Watson describing his experiences taking psilocybin mushrooms in 1955 during Mazatec ritual in, how do you say that? Oaxaca. That's Oaxaca.
Yeah, that is a great name. You want to get weird in Oaxaca.
So he wrote it in a book, but didn't he do something in Life magazine? It was something that was in like a mainstream publication. Yeah, Life, that's it. Life series of great adventures by R. Gordon Watson. Yeah, there it is. Okay. Interesting.
Mushrooms of life changers,
And
man.
I think that human beings have been eating them forever. And I think based on Brian Rescue's work with that book, The Immortality Key, which I can't remember, I think it's wild.
The immortality key.
Yeah, you would love
Alright,
it. It's wild.
I got 1,000 books to read. I have
It's
also.
also based on very hard evidence. They have the vessels that these people drank wine out of, and found where these vessels. The Liberty Cap and Fly Agaric, which is Fly Agaric is I think it's Sierra grow in Ireland and are both believed to produce visions of fairies and leprechauns. Ding ding ding, we have a winner. Along with a variety of otherworld creatures associated with Ireland, fairies and mushrooms have always been a big part of Irish culture. They're deeply intertwined with culture. In fact, the Gaelic slang for fairies and mushrooms is the same word. I'll say that again. The Gaelic slang for fairies and mushrooms is the same word. Word is spookies. Spookies. And that's what it's cookies. Right? That's a good call.
Isn't that what they call it? Mad fights and crack fights or bookies? Yeah, I think that's what they call it. See, that's what they
Hold on,
call it.
before we do that, we'll just go to that, I promise. In Ireland, the trip one goes from magic mushrooms described as going away with the fairies, being off with the pixies. In pagan times, in the Forosnai, in Forosnai, were psychedelic poets. The poets spoke of eating the red flesh of a pig, dog, or cat, which is believed to be in reference to the flying on air, because that mushroom is red and white. It looks like Santa Claus, which is another fucking conspiracy.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
The poets chewed on this red flesh of a pig before lying in a dark room to seek out inspiration. Yeah, bingo.
Yeah, dude.
When they were tripping.
Yeah, you eat mushrooms, go into just to some cave and just
It's
throw
all about
balls.
trips. Yeah, another trip. I think that was a giant part of most cultures until the power cultures eradicated. And that's the story of the immortality. Must be Southern California thing. Pookie means a tweet, like, oh wow, crack. They're also called crack pipes. Wow. Pookie. Wow, that's crazy.
Damn, dude.
That's crazy. It went from being something that allows you to connect with leprechauns to crack pipe.
That's what they always do. They take it and they invert it, dude, all the time.
That's crazy.
It is crazy, dude.
Or it was like a good little Pookie.
So it just got weird.
You said you crackhead. They named the pipe
A
after.
legendary crackhead.
It was the best crackhead ever. He was the Cheech of crackheads.
I don't know, in Austin, it's like, man, this is how I know I'm old. Like, I didn't do my drugs out in the public now. I mean, dude, you drive around, people smoking, man. I was walking, I like to walk around Hollywood and just look for danger, right? Like, it's, just so I can talk about it.
That's how you're coming from.
Yeah, on my podcast, like, so I can just talk about what I saw.
Really? So you go to bad places just to walk around?
Yeah, I'll walk around
Man,
just to see what I can find.
You're a fucking investigator.
I am. I'm a dick joke comic investigator. And dude, I was on Hollywood Boulevard one day, and like Hollywood Boulevard now is like straight out taxi driver, dude. It's the same kind of. It's really not like gritty, dark, and dangerous, and you just walk around.
We're still tourists.
And there's still tourists. So this is
Just wandering through the streets.
so the tourist company that's in charge of the Hollywood Tourist Board was bragging that Hollywood Boulevard was voted top 100 tourist spots to go to, but what they never told you, it was number 100 out of 100.
What was number 99?
I have no clue, but it was voted number
Over Here's House.
something like that. Did you ever hear about what Ben Franklin was? Okay, that's a different story. But
What did he do?
you never heard that, like, what he was they found in his house?
No.
Like, tons of bodies, bro. Ben Franklin, they found tons of bodies in his.
Ben Franklin was a serial killer?
No, he was like doing some weird shit, dude. Bodies.
Experimenting?
Yeah.
Is this real?
Everything I say.
Was Ben Franklin's basement filled with skeletons? Repairs on Franklin's old London house turned up 1,200 pieces of bone from at least 15 people.